Mr Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Transport. What is the focus of the government's road safety initiatives announced yesterday?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, yesterday the government announced a package of road safety initiatives targeting drink drivers, in particular repeat and young offenders. The package will include a zero drink drive limit for recidivist drink drivers, a zero drink drive limit for drivers under 20 years of age, much tougher penalties for serious offences causing death and drink driving causing death, and the introduction of alcohol interlocks for repeat drink drivers and serious first-time offenders. These are big changes that will address two of the big issues on the road, the high fatality rate of young drivers and the menace of repeat drink drivers.
David Bennett.
Supplementary question to the Minister of Transport. What decision did the government make about the adult drink driving limit?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, the government has noted that there is a gap in the New Zealand statistics about the actual harm caused by adult drivers whose blood alcohol level is between 0.05 and 0.08. Before making changes of this scale, the public will want to know the actual harm at that level, so the government intends to change the legislation to collect that data. People are also naturally concerned about having a couple of drinks and suddenly being over the limit. It's important that the public support these road safety initiatives because road rules only work if they have a broad level of public acceptance.
Point of order, Dr Russel Norman.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I seek leave to table a document published by the Ministry of Transport, obtained under the Official Information Act, which outlines 300 drink driving studies that demonstrate that driving abilities start to become impaired at 0.05, and by 0.08 a driver is significantly impaired.
Leave is sought to table that document. Is there any objection? There is no objection. Darien Fenton.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister, when he told a conference in Auckland last year that it was ridiculous that he could drink 3/4 of a bottle of wine in 90 minutes, yet still be under the legal alcohol limit, was he aware that actually lowering the limit would be a little bit too nanny state for his colleague Murray McCulley?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, the question is strange in so many ways. But can I say, Mr Speaker, that obviously in reference to my slight frame, that I am concerned at the thought of me drinking 3/4 of a bottle of wine and then driving, and that was the comment I was making last year.
David Bennett.
Question to the Minister of Transport. How are the penalties for drivers who cause road fatalities changing?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, the government is strengthening the penalties for people convicted of drink or drug driving causing death, dangerous or reckless driving causing death, illegal street racing causing death, and failing to stop after a crash when someone is killed. The maximum prison term for all these dangerous offences causing death will be doubled to up to 10 years in prison. With imprisonment penalties for these offences last reviewed in 1962, these changes are well overdue. Tougher sanctions will bring these penalties in line with other similar serious offences and with penalties in other jurisdictions.
The Honourable Jim Anderton.
Mr Speaker, how does the Minister reconcile his comments last year that the existing drink driving limit was, quote, ridiculous, end quote, with his decision yesterday to spend 2 more years researching the, quote, ridiculous, end quote, limit so that we can measure just how ridiculous the ridiculous limit is?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, I have to say I do struggle with criticism from that side of the House on the drink driving issue, or in fact any road safety issues, because their record on that was such abysmal in the 9 years they were in government.
Point of order, Dr Russel Norman.
The question was specific.
Order. Order. A point of order has been called and I'm on my feet, and someone in the back right-hand corner of the House there is taking grave risks. Point of order, Dr Russel Norman.
The question was about how to reconcile two statements. The answer was simply attacking the Labor government. It had nothing to do with the question.
I think the point of order raised, I mean, while the questioner didn't make it totally serious in the language used, I think maybe some greater effort at the reconciliation might be appropriate from the Minister, the Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, I noted in answer to the previous supplementary question that I was referring to my own ability to drink wine rather than the wider limit at the time, and I said that it was ridiculous that I would drink that amount of wine and then drive. But nevertheless, I still struggle with the criticism from the other side, Mr. Speaker, because they were so absent for 9 years on these subjects.
The Honourable Jim Anderton.
Mr. Speaker, why does the Minister need more research over this, quote, ridiculous, end quote, limit, when there are 60 international reports which favour reduction of the drink driving limit, and even his own ministry has estimated that reducing the level could save 33 lives, prevent up to 680 injuries, and save up to $238 million every year?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, I would note that the government has given itself 2 years to collect this data. I note the previous government took 9 years to not doing anything, so if we do make a change after 2 years, we'll be 7 years ahead of the opposition.
The Honourable Jim Anderton.
Mr. Speaker, how can the Minister justify more research when the reputable researchers working in this area are not saying they need more research, they need urgent action?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, well, the member may not be been in this House at the time, but the fact of the matter is that the previous government signalled that it was a lack of research that meant that they couldn't make a decision to lower the drink drive limit back in the early 2000s. The only problem is that they didn't move to collect the information. This government is going to pass legislation to do exactly that.
Question number 6, the Honourable Ruth Dicey.